How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another CCH Podcast episode. It feels like it's been a while since we've done one. I know recently we had DJ on, a former full-time panelist who is now the special guest, and we have a really exciting new episode here to talk about today. A little bit shorter than what we normally go, but I'm really excited for this reflection of the All Seasons hiking show. So it's very rare that one show on a YouTube channel gets to highlight the aspects of another show. And I think this is one of the more unique things we do every season. We break down what's going on within the hiking show and we talk about it on the podcast. So we give our viewers an opportunity to maybe learn about another show that we're doing that might interest them. We have a lot of different fans who are part of different backgrounds, whether you're watching the shows and you care about the tanks or you care about Frog Week, or maybe you came to our channel from the hiking show. It's nice to kind of see the variety that we're offering here for Woods and Forests Media. So I just wanted to show all of that here on display. And thank you guys as well for being a part of all of our content and helping us with liking the videos and commenting. And I really do appreciate that. So all your feedback is welcomed, and I'm really looking forward for how we're going to finish the All Seasons hiking show out this year. Anyway, I have two guests who are no strangers to this podcast as well as the hiking show. I'm, of course, talking with the host of the hiking show, Ben, the person who came up with the original idea of the hiking show, Josh. Two guys who've also been a big part of the podcast as well. You can go back and see episodes featuring them talking with different guests, like somebody who has ants and has ant colonies for sale, along with different hiking experiences that we talked about previously with Ben. But I'm going to open the floor up to you guys for a little bit here now. It doesn't matter who starts, but I guess what's been your reflection of this season for season 5? Isn't it crazy that we're on 5 seasons of the hiking show for one? And where do you guys see it going to finish out this season? Think of all the technology that, we've got 2 drones now and might be utilizing that. We got the weather cam, possibly the new white Sony camera. For those of you tech nerds, it's the ZV-E10 Mark II with some cool lenses that have been on display as well. But I don't want to have a word sandwich here, so I'll give it to you guys now.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I actually didn't think it's been 5 years. That's literally insane. I guess with the whole COVID thing at times, like just sped up, I feel like. I don't know. Not that's crazy to think about. Um, I don't know. I feel like this was I know it was a small season, but it was quick as well. But I think that a lot of good stuff happened. That hike we did at UPJ, that was think that was the first time I saw that 360 camera, I want to say, in person. And that you seemed like you got a pretty good handling on it. And that was a good spot for it because you had those structures kind of around and you just wanted to go straight up and just kind of show off the new toy, if you will. But the technology starting, I guess, 5 years ago compared to now, I mean, my goodness, that weather station you have, I know it's kind of simple in regards of just like a time lapse, like, hey, the snow came and went and stuff like that. But I think it kind of like adds a good bit to the actual perspective of this immediate environment that you're at. Um, you had talked earlier about maybe getting like a thermal camera. That would be crazy, especially when it starts getting cold out, just to see how it looks. We start doing colder hikes like in late fall or early spring or something like that. But no, I mean, moving forward, I think the technology is the path has been great, and I think that the editing is getting phenomenal. It actually is telling a really good story, and I think the locations are obviously one of the biggest um, aspects to it. Originally I just thought, why don't we try to find something cool in is it 66 counties in Pennsylvania, like just at least one thing, but we ended up finding a bazillion in just a couple counties. We haven't even gotten across Pennsylvania. That's going to come, but it's kind of crazy that you start out like thinking small, like, oh, okay, there's all these counties, let's find something. And we're still in Cambria, we're still in Westmoreland, we're still in Somerset, Butler, or not Butler, oh my goodness, Follett and the Bedford area. I forget what that one's called. but we're not running out of hikes even just in that. So like Pennsylvania woods really has a lot to offer, especially with animals and other wildlife. And so I'm excited to see where that goes.
Let me throw up a clip here from the YouTube channel so you guys get a chance to see this all together too, so that way we are good. So for those of you, this is kind of funny. We're going to be playing some of our YouTube shorts, so you'll have a chance to watch this after if you want to. But this was some of the footage here.
Yeah, that's right on that stump.
Can you guys hear this?
No.
Okay, it's probably better you can't hear it. Hopefully it doesn't show up.
And it makes it look like it's a little
360
below.
view. Sorry, Yash. Yeah, the 360 view thing's pretty cool. The shot you were showing, I wasn't along for that particular moment, but you did that on one of the other hikes. I was with you, and it was pretty crazy. Your drone like carrying up a camera and a little bit scary. Put a valuable piece of equipment up in the air that high.
Yeah.
But you get some pretty awesome shots with it.
Let me showcase the one that we got at Powder Mill. This is the one you were there for, Ben.
Yeah.
This one I think is a little more dramatic because I go a little bit slower. You just see the journey of the drone, though. I just think that it's pretty cool to see that.
So that's a top view then of the drone. Okay.
That's pretty awesome. That's probably my favorite short for the hiking show. Just, I don't know, the music that we can't play, so that way we don't get copyrights, but the music along with like the actual journey of the drone is just, I feel, unrivaled. So I don't know, that to me really stands out. I just wanted to kind of showcase that while we're talking about it. But I mean, I think that it's crazy that I'm throwing a $500 camera on a drone and all that's holding it is that little strap, and it's 400 feet in the air, and then the lens itself is like nearly $400. And it was just funny, the story about that little 360 lens. It had to come the whole way from Insta 360, so they're in China, right? It's a great thing to talk about right now, but it actually almost got slapped with a tariff years ago, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like, am I not going to be able to get this thing through the border? Am I going to have to pay customs or something? Like, what's going to happen? It's literally like the smallest lens you could think of, but I got lucky. They were just like, oh, what is this? This is stupid, and they just passed it through. But I think the 360 lens has been really interesting as an add-on, and to show, we don't really show the drone. It's from the drone's point of view, but now we have an opportunity to even show what the drone is doing and what it's seeing and where it's at in a way that I think changes the perspective, because now you're not looking, the drone isn't just a camera. Now the drone is a part of the show. It's a character because it has its own image being shown, throughout the episodes. So even though it's obviously not going to do an interview, it's an inanimate object, it still, in a way, is represented as another founding character or piece to the show because of how synonymous the drone has been. And, we'll see what happens with the Instacam, with the time lapses and with the 360 lens. It also seems like it's that little niche gadget that can accompany us for a lot of really cool scenes.
Have you taken the drone through the turnpike tunnels?
We haven't been there since the last time. AJ, Josh Murchko didn't go on that one, but the three of us went. You, I, AJ, and Maria. So four of us.
I don't even remember that.
It was like 2022 or 23.
Okay.
It's going to look very different.
Yeah, I wonder how it would do in there, because with how dark it is, getting all of our bright lights behind it as it's, you don't want to go too far, you don't want to lose it, but just tracking it as it's going maybe 100 feet in front of you. I don't know what it would see. Maybe the thermal camera would be better, but that'd be interesting.
The Air 2S that we're using as our primary drone has a spotlight built into it, and Josh Marichko actually had a chance to see it on the White's Woods hike because we went kind of later into the night, and he was surprised to see that as I flew lower to the ground, the spotlight on it is so powerful that I could pick him up. just thought that was really unique, but hopefully we don't really have to go that far. But yeah, I mean, it's possible because it's in a tunnel, it's an enclosed space, that it would do better since it has that spotlight. It's a really bright spotlight. It's capable of flying at night. So um, I know the abandoned turnpike is a place that we get a lot of views when we go, and we haven't been there in a while. It's sort of a part or synonymous part of the channel, I think, because we made such a special highlight of it over the years, whether it appeared in, the very first year of Frog Week, or we've had at least one episode of the hiking show. It's one of the few things that's been a part of a lot of different avenues of our media brand, right? Now we're talking about it again on the podcast. So 3 out of the 5 shows we own, the Abandoned Turnpike has been a part of in one way, shape, or form. So it might be an episode that we have to do either for this season to close it out or for season 6. But we'll have to kind of figure that one out.
Yeah, I've never been there with you guys. I've been there with other people a number of times to the Abandoned Turnpike. It's a pretty cool spot, pretty unique spot. There's actually been Hollywood movies filmed there, like post-apocalyptic scenes. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome spot, and it would be cool to try and fly the drone through the tunnel, and even to fly it like out ahead and get a perspective of just like how long those tunnels are.
Yeah.
I know when you go to like the second tunnel, it's even a little bit longer, and you get in the middle and you can't see light ahead of you, and you turn around, you can't see light behind you, and it's kind of an eerie feeling that like you're that far underground.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely have to think about how we're going to incorporate the Abandoned Turnpike in all this, because things have changed so much. I mean, the trail itself, walking it, the tunnels themselves, I haven't been there, so don't quote me, but supposedly they're supposed to change because the DCNR was going to fund projects to restore them. But I'm curious to hear about what your takes are on, even if it was just the episode, one of the episodes, like for you, Josh, that you were in, or even if we pull it out to all time, but if we can stick with season 5, what your thoughts are on this season. Like, what was one of your favorite moments? What was like something that you're going to take away, like, wow, that was really neat or really special that we did? White's Woods, Powder Mill, UPJ, Hinkston Run. There's a lot of interesting moments we've had this season. Just wanted to kind of hear your reflection on what you guys think.
Yeah, I think UPJ was a pretty cool one. Just a variety of stuff to see right there. We didn't even have to hike that far. And you have like old abandoned structures from like the 70s, the old dam there, and then old abandoned structures from the 1800s, the old farmhouse, and then whatever that other abandoned building was is probably more recent and had inappropriate graffiti in it. But you got like all kinds of stuff there, and cool like nature too. You're down in that little valley there with the stream down in the middle, and then the pond right up by the parking area there. So it would have a cool variety of things in a pretty small area and pretty close to just civilization and everything else, just close to town there. So if somebody wanted to check it out, they don't have to go way out there somewhere to get to it either.
I'll definitely say that the UPJ hike was one of my favorites to edit. There was so much content, we literally had to have a part 2. If not, it would have been like a 30-minute episode. I mean, we literally had 2 different expeditions on the same day. It would have been awesome for it all to work out, for everybody to go at once. That would have been really fun, but, it just wasn't in the cards for that. So we had to split it up, obviously. But, I mean, there was just so much to showcase there. I was literally following you guys with the drone a little bit. The time-lapse cam, of course, like the Instacam, catching some unique footage as well. But I take away from it a few different aspects. Like the nighttime, we were up there, it was so humid, and we were just finding salamanders, Josh, like all throughout the hillside. It was like every so many feet we found one, and poor Josh is trying to get home to his wife and just like get over with the day. And Tyler and I are screwing around on the hillside looking for salamanders as a test of his patience and our friendship. But yeah, that was one of the parts that I remember. And I also remember filming Ben when he was standing down there at the retaining wall for that dam. Just the way it looked, how beautiful that scene was. I don't think a lot of people really reflected on that like I saw it. That's probably because I was the editor and I saw it, the raw footage before I edited it. But it was just such a beautiful shot because I found a mossy down tree and then decided I was going to put the camera on that to film you. And because of how the camera was, you could literally see the moss underneath it pointing out, and like just how large in perspective that retaining wall would have been to hold the dam. So I don't know, those were two key things to me that stood out. And Ben, your takeaway from the cemetery was really impressive.
Yeah, the cemetery was a cool place too. I forgot that was part of UPJ as well. There was just so much packed into that hike, and yeah.
Yeah, I forgot, Aaron, that didn't you went there twice in the same day, right? Yeah.
Within 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, like you did the whole thing with Ben, and then I met up with you and Tyler.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah, well, what's cool about that is what Ben was talking about, like with how much stuff is there, and you didn't have to go that far. That's the thing, like, we're kind of blessed where we live in the sense that you don't have to drive some ridiculous amount of like when we go up to Potter County, it is really nice. That's a hike. That's a 3 hour drive. Depending on who's driving, but you don't have to, Aaron, you don't have to do that. Like you can just go in your backyard or just go a mile down the road or just find something, and as long as you're not trespassing, like there's going to be something there. It's a pretty neat area, and I know they own a lot of acres there. They got big pockets.
Oh yeah, and they're only expanding their range. They just bought MetLife, and a lot of cool stuff going on with Pitt Johnstown. And shout out to them because they've been very good with us. And I talked, shout out to Dan, the security guy, like the head of their police. I had to go through the process with him a few times about filming the drone, and he's been gracious and he's let us do it. But it's not a place where you're allowed to take off unless you have their authorization. So we've been 3 for 3 when I've flown the drone out there. I don't usually go out there unless, like I said, there's a reason. But, to have the opportunity to have their blessing to film is a really cool thing. But just the stuff that they allow us to do, to really partner with them and work together. It's cool that we went there, Josh, and Ben, you went there even for a semester. It's kind of cool that we all have that experience where we were students and like we're still, in a way, like they're a part of what we do or a part of like our lives, especially this season, obviously, with having 2 episodes to themselves. But just wanted to kind of highlight them. That was a really cool experience. And I remember with Ben, we kind of went off the trail and got lost for a little bit. That was an interesting beginning to that episode.
Yeah, we missed our turn there. Thankfully, it's not too huge an area. It's not too easy to get lost. It's not like when we went up, what's that area called? Clear Shade.
Sailor Trail.
We were out there hiking, and I kept telling you, oh, just up this hill, and then we'll be back to the car. And we get up and be like, oh, no, just up over this next hill, and we'll be back to the car. And
felt like a video game.
Yeah, you just kept going and going, and you're lugging all that gear and struggling, and it was getting kind of cold and nasty out. But hey, we survived. We made it back.
I bought snowshoes and was like rolling. I was in great shape with those snowshoes. I was moving quick. And then one of them, when we were going up a step, it just broke off. And I'm like, oh no. I had to take them off and go the whole incline without them. And I'm like, oh, of course. Like it couldn't have happened, going down and kind of getting that experience to see what it would have been like. But yeah, that was interesting. And I remember, Josh, I don't know if you had a chance to see it on any of the episode, but just last thing about the UPJ episode, because I thought it was funny, we literally saw shopping carts on the trail. Like college kids must have taken some of the shopping carts from a local business and parked them in the middle of a trail, like probably 2 miles down into the forest.
Yeah, like it took work to get it there. They didn't just throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them were pretty deep in too. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
put some effort to get them there. It's not like they just chucked them off the side of the road.
If they spent that much time and effort studying, maybe they'd get good grades.
Yeah.
There's another one I wanted to kind of talk about. Shout out to Powder Mill. I'm also employed with them as an occasional educator, but I thought that was a really fun hike. I was there twice, once with Josh Marichko and again with Ben. I think was his episode first or was your episode first, Ben? Um,
I think I was there first. I don't remember what order they came out.
yeah. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a really good adventure. Again, shout out to Powder Mill because that was a really good experience with both of you guys. We had a chance to highlight a lot. That was when I just got my iPhone 15 Pro, and it was crazy, like seeing what it actually could do out in the field. I also have something real quick we could watch of the Powder Mill episode, so that way, Josh, you get a chance to see here as well. It was so far back. I mean, there's been a lot of content that's come out since then. But here's a brief, short synopsis so you guys get a chance to see it.
Oh, that's right. I remember this.
And you can see how much the drone just adds so much more to all the shots. Adds a whole context of where we are and what's going on.
Yeah, whole different perspective.
Because the scope of the woods is just immeasurable, so it's hard to explain it unless somebody can see it.
Yeah, the Powder Mill was a cool one. We didn't hike super far or really far from the visitor center, but
Look at
we saw
that.
so much wildlife on that one.
Yeah, I sent the drone up in the middle of the trail, which was a lot of fun, and then landing it. I think we saw that big hawk, if you remember.
Yeah, we saw like a hawk. We saw a bunch of turkeys.
Some
I think we
fish.
saw some frogs,
Yeah.
fish. Yeah.
So, what is powder mills? Like, what's the like what do they do that you
So
look at?
it's an education or a field station for Carnegie Museum of Natural History. So they have research and education there. It's a building that it obviously is built to resemble what you would see at Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. So they have taxidermy animals inside, a couple like small enclosures of different creatures that they have as like ambassador animals. But they do like really serious research. It's mostly a bird banding station. So they'll put these little bands on birds, kind of like you'd see at Petco, but they all have an identification barcode. They're able to pretty much figure out what bird has been where. They track them, and they found a bird as far as Peru. So they've been doing that, and it's really cool. They also test out like glass for windows so birds don't fly through them. There's a lot of really cool stuff they're doing. But you can see like there's Powder Mill Run, a little bit of acid mine drainage going down. I think Josh Murchko did a really good job with this episode explaining a lot of the environmental factors. Like he showed beech leaf disease. He showed, what we just tackled right there with, even with just the acid mine drainage. That was something that I think we kind of talked about a little bit, but it wasn't like a super important part of pointing that out. But with where we're from, it's everywhere. Acid mine drainage is in all of the streams pretty much, and it's just an impact on everything from the plants to the animals, even our daily lives of where you could go fishing, for example, or if you go in the water cold tubing, are you going to come out with sulfur on you still? So, I mean, there's a lot of good examples. So I thought that was really good that he broke that down for that episode.
Yeah, I
Well, I
think
heard
that's it. good addition we've made in this latest season, adding more just information to it, whether it be like historical information or general information, which is kind of what I've tried to add, or adding more geological, environmental information, and try and make it a little more than just us walking around going, oh, look at that over there. That looks really cool. But try to explain a little bit more where we're at, what we're seeing from a more scientific standpoint. And I feel like we started to step our game up this past season in doing that a little bit better.
What were you going to say, Josh?
I want to say that I've heard I think it was from Bill was telling me they were cleaning up this one stream down by where they live. It's like 40 or so years ago. I mean, it was as orange and red as it could get, and you couldn't swim in there without getting your swimming trunks destroyed.
I think you mean Oven Run. It's really close to Bill's house.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but anyways, it's pretty cleaned up now. And I think he said one of the things was, I don't know if it was the state or county, but it took some money, but they intentionally put like moss in. So I don't know, I'm really botching this up, but they basically used moss in some capacity over the years to help filter out that acid stuff. I'd like to talk to Josh Murcho about that, because if we could find like an example that like actively, cleaning out a stream, like a river or something, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but that'd be kind of cool to get on footage. Because that's like something people can back. It benefits everybody. It benefits the wildlife. People don't want to look at it, even if like, I don't care about wildlife. Well, do you want to see orange streams everywhere? I mean, it's like, it's just beneficial. So I haven't seen it in my own self. It'd be cool to see that.
Yeah, a lot of what they do. So I think you're talking about the work that Lenny did. Shout out to the Somerset Conservation District. They actually have made a big difference. They've really changed the water quality, and they have a lot of proof to back that up with a lot of research. But what they're using is a lot of limestone bedding, and they have settling ponds. And I think the moss will grow around that or on the rocks maybe, but the limestone is able to sort of neutralize the pH because it's coming in so low. It's like a 2 or a 3 or a 4. And then by the time it goes through 3 different ponds, it's ready to get pushed back out into the stream or into a river. I was at one of the spots. Oven Run is multiple sites. It's not just one. Like it's throughout Somerset County, goes into the Stony Creek River. But yeah, there are a lot of really cool features that they've done. Their treatment systems are millions of dollars, which is crazy to think, but their settling ponds have cow manure in them, and it's really interesting to think about like how they are utilizing all this stuff to kind of neutralize the water, bring the water quality back instead of just allowing it to continue to be the way it's always been, since the acid mine drainage has become a problem in our area. It would have been easy to just ignore it, but we got fishing now in a lot of places where there would never have been a possibility to go fishing years ago, decades ago. One cool thing is they've made a lot of habitats throughout Somerset County for the pickerel frog, which is probably one of the most sensitive species to pollution. And as I've been on some of the sites, because I was an intern for them, I had a chance to see the pickerel frogs coming to the last ponds that they had built. So the water quality was so good that they were bringing a frog that literally can't survive in pollution out from who knows where they came from, but they found those ponds and now they live there. And they've established breeding populations, which it's almost unheard of. Like, obviously nobody is covering this because it's a frog that everybody thinks is like common and so stupid that it doesn't matter. But that's, I think, where we find our niche for this nonprofit and media brand. Like for both, I like to highlight things that are not necessarily the most common and sexiest thing in the room, maybe not what's the biggest for money and funding, but something that I personally have an attachment to. And just seeing a frog that is very obscure, that even though it's it's common and stuff and it's abundant, a lot of people don't know much about them or even know that they exist. So it's really cool to see that species thriving in a place where you'd never think it was.
Well, you touch on a good point. So basically you can, and obviously you know this, but like you can use wildlife or the observation of wildlife at the very least to measure the impact humans have had on a given area or its comeback, you know what I mean, or desecration, whatever direction you want to go, where it's like, look, there's nothing here, and this is going into our water supply or whatever. Then like if the animals don't want to be there, it's obviously a problem. It's downstream, we're downstream. So I think that's like
Yeah,
scientifically is a pretty useful resource.
and we've even seen some of the success on some of our hikes of the environmental cleanup stuff in our area. Like we hiked at the Jim Mare River Walk Trail, which is along the Stony Creek River, and that river was pretty much a dead river for a lot of years, and now there's smallmouth bass and other fish in there. You see ducks and geese and all that stuff on the river all the time. I personally haven't seen it, but I've heard people say bald eagles down around there now. So, like, that's a huge sign of river cleanup there. And then I think, too, we went to the Pass of the Flood Trail in Steinman a few years ago. And a big portion of that trail is a hillside. It was a big, like, stony pile, coal mine, like, refuse that had been there that they cleared that off and made the trail in this really nice hillside overlooking the stream there. And yeah, it's cool to see some of these projects that turn some of this ugly waste from past industrial stuff back into nice environmental areas that are good for wildlife and good for us to enjoy as well.